The Supreme Court's decision to uphold the Trump administration's enforcement of the public charge rule isn't just dividing both sides of the aisle. It actually has conservatives split as well. Will the rule save tax dollars or would it hurt the economy? Joining me to debate, Wall Street Journal opinion writer Jillian Melcher, also Independent Women's Forum visiting fellow, Heritage Foundation member Kelsey Bolar. Kelsey, let me start with you because I was shocked at how many conservative organizations and, of course, big business organizations frowned upon this to the degree they're saying it will wipe out all of the good that Trump has done, the tax cuts, the regulatory cuts, unleashing the animal spirits, that this would be such a negative to our economy.
I absolutely disagree with that. Look, at the end of the day, what this is going to do is save taxpayers money, because what it is saying, it's this very basic principle that dates back 100 years to our immigration policy in the United States, that if you are a legal immigrant wanting to come to the United States, you have to be able to sustain yourself, to not rely on government welfare programs paid by hardworking Americans. And so it's a basic principle, and I think the left is trying to conflate it with our asylum and refugee process, where we are still very compassionate. We are very generous to those who need that type of public assistance. This new rule is meant to send a clear message to legal immigrants that if you are coming here, you need to be able to sustain yourself.
I want to just let the audience understand just how big of an issue this is. Of the 5.5 million green card folks in the last 5 years who've come here, 69% could be potentially impacted by this. Also keep in mind, when it comes to welfare, the Native Americans on average get $6,900 per person, whereas the immigrants get $5,500. You know, these numbers, of course, only start to add up. And I know that you're a very compassionate conservative, but you're also very orthodox when it comes to economics. Is this bad economic policy?
Well, so 2 points I'll make. So I think the Supreme Court ruling is in and of itself a good thing, because you don't want lower courts striking down something nationwide. So that aside, on the public charge, I agree with the concept that you don't want people coming here with the lure of the welfare state, that just are going to sit on the government, be dependent forever. But my objection to it is the public charge rule doesn't just look at people's past behavior, whether they've accepted welfare for a long time and been dependent. It also looks at the future likelihood of them doing this. And I think the criteria that it looks like is not the greatest, because it's looking at things like poverty or education level. But we already know that if you look at immigrants in general when they come here, they have a higher level of workforce participation, they have a higher level of entrepreneurship. And I think that those are not necessarily good predictors of your likelihood of being dependent on the government. And I also think it's really dangerous for conservatives to flirt with the idea that if you're born into poverty, if you come here in poverty, that you'll stay in poverty forever. I think immigrants often carry out the American dream, and we need to be encouraging that and basing these decisions based on people's choices and behavior, not traits that they can't change.
Kelsey?
The criteria that this public charge rule would enforce looks at a range of things when a person is coming here. It's not based just on their education or just on their previous experience in the workforce. And, you know, I think if you take a step back, you realize that some 73% of Americans support the idea that if you want to be a legal immigrant in this country, you need to come here being able to pay for yourself and not rely on our welfare system, which is already spread incredibly thin.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't think adversity should be weighted against you. I think if you're somebody that's been on food stamps for the past 7 years, absolutely count that. But my concern with this public charge rule is it takes in a lot of other things into consideration that you can't change, that your behavior and your choices can't change. And I just think that's really dangerous. We want to encourage citizens or future citizens that are held accountable for their choices, but are also encouraged to take personal responsibility.
In the meantime, though, you know, we still have the same, if not more, legal immigrants coming to this country, and we all understand how important they are. But, you know, maybe it's good that the White House can have a greater say. Ladies, great debate, great facts on both sides. Jillian and Kelsey, thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Hey,